Welcome back to Good Morning Vail. If you're like me, you probably just received your new real estate taxes in the mail. And I know last year they assessed some real estate and some values went up significantly. Well, there's nobody that knows more about real estate and their values than the Stockton Group. And so I've got Patrick and Ty here to talk a little bit about the market, what's happening there, because it's exciting. There's still a lot of sales happening. But what's going on right now in the market? Are we kind of past the pandemic? Are we normalizing? Kind of where are we at?
Yeah. Pat, you want to kick in first?
Sure. I think what I have seen this year, or just this past year, I guess 2023, relative to kind of the height of the pandemic time, is we're normalizing is kind of the term that we're using for it. So properties are taking a little bit longer to sell, where it was maybe 3 to 6 weeks. 2021, beginning of 2022, we're back to kind of 3 to 6 months, which is a big shift, but is also very normal for us. So I think the main message from me this year is that pricing has really held constant. We're taking a little bit longer to sell, but sellers are patient. Inventory remains low, pricing remains strong.
Yeah. And Ty, in all your ads, you always say when you're in Vail, you're on vacation. And nobody loves living in a place more than where you feel like you're in vacation all the time. Now, we were talking before the interview about, there is inventory out there, but sometimes you've got to go convince people to sell, and it takes a number. You got to have the right buyer that's willing to make that investment. Where's most of this luxury real estate sales right now happening?
Yeah, we could sit here for an hour and talk about really a deep dive in the market. To Patrick's point, inventory is still low. It's higher than it was a year ago, but it's still at near historic lows. So that is causing prices to hold firm and in some areas rise. But sort of the name of the game last year actually was Beaver Creek and Bachelor Gulch. We saw a nice run up in prices there, which I think we would both agree had been held down over the last, say, 10 years when Vail was making these big run-ups after, the financial crisis, the banking crisis. And so it was nice to see Beaver Creek and Bachelor Gulch sort of have its time last year. And there were some really significant homes that sold there. And then you flip back to Vail, and the name of the game there has been really the condominium market. Anything in Vail Village and Lions Head, if it's a desirable product, it sells quickly and it sells, at a premium price. I mean, we broke through a $5,000 square foot ceiling this last year.
Wow.
Which is significant when you think about where we've gone the last 15 or 20 years. I can remember when we were through $1,000 a square foot and everybody said, oh my gosh, this can't go higher. But you've heard me also use the term or the phrase, don't bet against Vail, because we have a real scarcity problem here.
Yeah.
And it'll always be that way, whether it's Bachelor Gulch, Beaver Creek, Vail Village, Lions Head. There are more people that desire to be here than product or inventory that we have. And it's sort of like beachfront.
Yeah.
If you want to be on the ocean or beachfront and you want to be in Vail Village or Beaver Creek Village or Bachelor Gulch, there's only so much of it. And so we think that trend will continue.
Now, we know those village locations are in high demand just because of the proximity to the lifts and everything going on. How about some of these surrounding neighborhoods? What are you seeing there?
Yeah.
I think if I look at the market as a whole, 50% of the transactions across the valley in a $3 billion market happen in the $1 to $3 million price range. So the majority of the activity is really in that 1 to 3 million range. The neighborhoods that really highlight that type of price point to me, East Vail, West Vail, Booth Creek, even Cascade Village in Vail, while that is rising a bit. And then you have Eagle Vale, Avon, Edwards, Single Tree, more of in those neighborhoods we're seeing buyers that are local. We have domestic, out-of-state buyers, primarily Texas and Florida. And then we've got a little bit of the international, where the international tends to fall into that kind of 3 million plus. But 1 to 3 is really kind of the sweet spot for the valley. And East Vail to Edwards, that's where all that takes place.
Yeah.
I think Patrick mentioned Avon, and it's worth noting, with the riverfront here at Weston, the front gate project has been highly successful. And we just launched 2 days ago the Kestrel Townhomes, which is in Eagle Vail, right on Eagle River. And our phone has been very busy. These are $3.5 to $4.5 million townhomes, 3 and 4 bedrooms. And we're fulfilling or fitting a niche that's hasn't been addressed in the market. Low HOA fees, oversized garages, elevators, things of that nature. And so Avon is kind of firecracker hot right now.
Wow.
It's great, the things that they've done here over the last few years to draw community in. And so that is one of those off mountain areas that is getting a lot of attention.
Yeah, with the limitations on being able to have new construction or any construction at this point, the single family homes have just skyrocketed, and then you get to the duplexes and then the townhomes. Where are you seeing the most appreciation coming in?
It still seems to be in because values were undervalued in Beaver Creek and Bachelor Gulch. We've seen a nice lift there, and we continue to see prices just rise in Vail Village and Lions Head. I don't know where that's going to go at this point, but we understand the reasons why. Again, more buyers than sellers, and we talked again off air about what's kind of happening out there, and we're doing more off-market deals now than ever before. So, what does that mean exactly? A buyer says, "Hey, I want a house with 5 bedrooms, close to town, more traditional home," which we're seeing a resurgence into, and we tell them, well, we don't have anything. So we go through, having done this for a long time, we'll get on the phone and start calling some of our homeowners and say, would you be a seller? And some of those deals are coming together in a more sort of under the radar screen or quiet manner than a traditional list it, bring a buyer together and sell it, and report that transaction.
Right. That was actually my next question. It was like, what do you tell a buyer that there's just don't see the inventory they're looking for? And it's like, don't give up. Let you guys do the work. Get out there and find that property for them, because it's not like there's a lot of things listed right now. You've got to work your magic.
That's right.
For sure. And I would say now more than ever, having a trusted professional to help you is paramount, because in a market where today we have around 300 properties across the valley for sale, all price points, and where we've had, from 1,500 to 2,000 transactions happening in a total year. So that is a scarcity problem, to Ty's point. So if you're looking for something very specific, the best way to find that is to have somebody that's out there really looking for you, and can maybe call a seller that we've worked with before and say, would you be willing to sell your property? Sure, if.
Right.
I call it the make me move number. Some people say, I'm not that motivated, but if I get the right price, and that is driving prices up, and buyers understanding that there's so few options, maybe initially struggle with that price, but they see it more of as an opportunity versus a comparative market analysis, if you will, like the last home sold here. And no two homes are the same in Vail and Beaver Creek. These are all custom homes. And how do we track that for buyers? Well, one of the great things about being with Compass Real Estate is they have arguably the best real estate technology platform out there.
Right.
And so we're able to create collections for people, and we set up with a lot of parameters what they're looking for, and if something does come on the market, we get notified right away, so do they, and we can communicate with them in our platform in a way that they feel connected to what's going on. And then, of course, all of the behind-the-scenes stuff that we talked about, where if it's not on the market, we're giving them constant updates about, we've talked to these people, they're not a seller, or they may be, or it creates this domino effect where I'm a seller, if you can find me another home.
Right.
And that's the other challenge we have, because then we go back into that limited inventory piece. So, we talked about not really getting into a lot of raw data here, because a lot of times these neighborhoods the information can be statistically insignificant, I like to say. One sale can tell the wrong story, and Patrick and I, we meet in the office every day, and we talk about what we're hearing, what we're seeing, and what really is going on out there. And the low inventory piece is keeping annual sales down from the historic highs during the pandemic.
Yeah.
We went to, I believe, 4.2 billion in sales across the market, and that number dropped this last year, but it has nothing to do with buyer fatigue. It has everything to do with lack of inventory, and in some cases, some sellers being overly aspirational about where their price is, and will say, it's not really a turnkey home, and it really doesn't warrant that number, and so that is driving up some of those days on market numbers that Patrick talked about a little earlier.
Well, gentlemen, I appreciate you coming in, giving us this expert advice. And if you're out there in the market to buy a home or sell a home, don't forget the professionals, Compass Real Estate, the Stockton Group. You've got Patrick, you've got Ty here that will help guide you, lead you on this journey. And if there's something that you don't see on the market, don't give up. These experts will definitely find that home that fits your needs. We'll be back soon with more Good Morning Vail.